So, as you can see, I just purged Firefox, and you can see the massive disk space usage of Firefox, and that's just so much. So, what if you want a more lightweight web browser, and you don't necessarily need all the things that Firefox would do? Now, there is an option, it's called Epiphany, or the GNOME Web browser. So, I will now install it. It often goes by Epiphany browser in the repositories. The operating system distribution here, GNU plus Linux, destroys MX, erroneously called MX Linux, but it's a GNU plus Linux system. Anyway, MX, that's the operating system. It's based on Debian, so this is the apt package manager. So whatever package manager you might be using, you just install the browser. And you can now see that, look at this small size, 12.8 megabytes. That's a very small size compared to something like the Firefox here above. You can see 240 megabytes when I uninstalled it. And that's just uninstalling. What about all the dependencies that didn't get uninstalled? If you're just installing it for the first time, you might even end up installing more, so the actual number might even be bigger. Because there might be some dependencies that weren't removed. Who knows? Anyway, regardless, the point is that this is way smaller. Like, that's like 20, like this is 20 times more than this thing alone already, basically, minus any dependencies that I just mentioned. So yeah, like this is like a 20th of the size. Anyway, so if you like have a bad internet connection, or you have like some sort of a data cap internet connection limit, so like if you do updates to your system and you constantly have to update Firefox, that's gonna eat a bunch of your data if you have some sort of a mobile data connection and you have like a data cap and whatever. So it's bad if you have to do a bunch of Firefox updates. You're just gonna have to end up installing the same Firefox web browser over and over again, hundreds and hundreds of megabytes all the time if you keep updating Firefox. Meanwhile, something like Epiphany browser is way smaller, so that might be one reason to use something like Epiphany. Now, Epiphany is not the most functional web browser when it comes to a lot of these things, like, for example, YouTube videos play very poorly, and there are some compatibility issues with some websites, but that's not necessarily inherently the browser's fault. You know, that's just those websites not considering the WebKit engine that Epiphany uses. The WebKit engine is also used by the Safari web browser on the Apple systems. So it's a more obscure web engine, but it's perfectly functional for, like, if you just do basic things like, let's say, email, or you just browse some websites with like some text, some documents and whatever. Basic stuff like that, if you don't necessarily watch YouTube. And there are better ways to watch YouTube, like you don't have to do it in like the Epiphany web browser. There are things like the what was it called, the freetube.io, for example. Let's just show you quickly. Like, wait, what? Is this another one of those? Wait, did I just go to a fake website? Yeah, I might have gone to a fake website. Oh no, it's freetubeapp.io. No wonder. Yeah, that's my bad, but who cares? I don't use FreeTube myself, so I don't know shit about that website name. So yeah, that was just a scam website that I went to. Yeah, don't go to FreeTube. Don't go to freetube.io. That's a scam. But freetubeapp.io, you know, you can watch YouTube with like other things. You don't need to watch YouTube in a web browser. So you can do those sorts of things. But like that's just if you don't. But if your intention is to like use Epiphany to like save web internet bandwidth or whatever, who cares? Anyway, the Epiphany might not be the best for certain use cases. There are other ways to watch YouTube and such things if that's necessary for you, but for basic things that you could do on the web, like email and whatever, that are like primarily like text based things, And you can do all that in Epiphany just fine. You can see the settings are quite simplistic also. Oh yeah, there's some more here to scroll. I don't like spell checking. You can add your custom search engine. That's neat. Even Firefox doesn't have this function. You can add your own search engine. So you would put here basically, let's try start page. So I'm gonna go to startpage.com. I'll do a search. Let's just search for that. And that's I wonder how the URL is done. Like if I write that there, no. Does it work like that? No. I think it should work if I just add the start page website to that. Let's see. Like that should. Is that gonna work? Let's see. Let's select that. Go to a new page. Yeah, it actually works. It's as easy as that. You just replace that with, if you want to start page. So you basically just go to the thing and just put that there. This search query that might depend on the specific web search engine. Yeah, this part might depend on the specific search engine that you're using. I don't know, but start page works anyway. You can just add your own custom search engines there. Even Firefox doesn't have that feature, so that's pretty neat. There are some pretty cool things about this. Yeah. It's pretty good. The settings are not that complicated, but actually it might be somewhat limiting also, because like I don't see here any options to do internet proxies, for example, are missing from the options. I don't see any way to do that. So there are some limitings to it. Yeah, but still, it's not bad. Like if you just want to do some basic web searching, then yeah, that's pretty good. Like, what would I want to show? I don't know. Let's go to GNOME.org. I mean, it's a web browser, but it's a web browser. You just use it for web browsing stuff. You know, WebKit, it's not the worst web engine. The Google Chrome, and that's like the most popular web browser, and it uses the Blink engine. That's very popular. And then Firefox uses the Gecko web engine. Well, that's less popular. But now Epiphany here and the Safari on the Apple systems, they are proprietary, so I don't recommend using Safari. That's proprietary trash. But they use this one, and that one uses WebKit. So the WebKit is like it's way less popular, but it's still a good web engine. Yeah, it's not the best web engine. It really isn't. But if you don't need like some functionalities that some bigger, heavier web browsers might have, if you just need some basic thing to just look up some text documents or whatever, I don't know what you would do on the web. I don't know what do people do on the internet. I mean, my assumption is that like many people just watch videos on the YouTube or something, but there are other ways to do that. Besides, yeah, well, I mean, if you just want to see some websites, yeah, Epiphany isn't the worst option. Yeah, I would recommend using Epiphany Web Browser. So is there some specific reason for that? Well, beyond just being a smaller, more lightweight web browser and such, well, it's not really good to have this Google hold such a massive monopoly almost. No, it's not really a monopoly, but I don't know, that's not really an accurate description of it. People just say that, but it's not really an accurate description. It's not really a monopoly, but they have a pretty large share of the web browser market, and that's not really a good thing at all. So something like WebKit, there's really not much reason you wouldn't want to use it, besides the few incompatibilities, but if those things don't bother you, if you don't need those specific things that might not work, and that's really up to the website anyway, if they don't support the web browser. Those websites, if they are made not to support this web browser, well, that's the website's fault, not the browser's fault. But whatever. Unless you have some specific need for some other web browser. In that case, you can just use Firefox. But WebKit is pretty good also. It's definitely not... It doesn't receive enough attention, so I'm making this video because of that. So that at least people know that it's out there. There are more than 2 options. There's more than just Chromium and Firefox. There is also WebKit. Don't forget about WebKit, it also exists. So just giving some attention to it. So enough of this. That's the end of this speech. But this is not a speech, this is a video. Right. Okay, well, that's it.